Hello, I'm Tim Smith with the Adams County Historical Society, and today we're at the site of McAllister's Mill along Rock Creek. So the history of McAllister's Mill we actually know from Theodore McAllister, who was the son of James McAllister, who owned the mill at the time of the Civil War. Now, there are some early documents that confirm some of the information given to us by Theodore McAllister. So, the first known owner of the mill at this site was actual Samuel Gaddis. And on a 1769 survey for the Baltimore Shippensburg Pike, Samuel Gaddis appears as the owner of the mill at this site. According to McAllister, there had been a mill here since 1741, but we know at least it was here by 1769. In the 1780s, it was owned by Samuel's son, James Gaddis, and it was owned also by Samuel Gaddis' son-in-law, a guy named Fleming. But eventually they died. It was part of their estate. And in the 1820s, it was sold to James McAllister. James McAllister was from one of the early Scotch-Irish families that had settled in the area. His father was a Revolutionary War soldier, and he was one of the early abolitionists in our area. There's actually a newspaper article from 1836 that actually discusses a meeting here at McAllister's Mill, an anti-slavery meeting. So we know that he was involved in abolitionist activities. And according to Theodore, this was a site of a stop on what has become known as the Underground Railroad. The history of the Underground Railroad is very complicated, and depending on what year we're talking about, it's very fluid. But Theodore McAllister was well versed in the Underground Railroad during the time that he was a kid. So from about 1852 until the outbreak of the Civil War, he was active with his family in assisting fugitive slaves into this area on their journey farther north. The mill building actually set right here behind me. You can still see the depression in the ground where the mill was. There was a huge wheel inside the mill that was fed by water that came through a mill race that came from an area where there was a dam on Rock Creek into the mill. And according to accounts, there was a passageway into the cog pit under the mill where they could hide fugitives. And there's some pretty good evidence that once the people reached this place, under the cover of darkness, they were again moved to the area where the Quakers resided in northern Adams County as part of their journey northward. It's hard to say exactly how many slaves James McAllister helped during his ownership of the mill. But according to his son, it was at least a few hundred of them, 200 or more. And just a fascinating site. We are on private property. We have permission by the owner of the property to be here. But this is not a place that you can come to on your own. But it is probably the best documented Underground Railroad site in our area.